Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Who You'd, an unofficial Doctor Who watch along podcast. My name is Ben, and as always, I'm here with my co host, Cam. How are you doing today, Cam?
Ooh, I'm doing fine. I had a week. We're recording this on a Sunday night, and I had a weekend of. I feel like I absolutely did nothing this whole weekend,
Me too.
which that's never feels good. I have a concert that I'm going to in like 3 days, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
The King Crimson one?
No, I'm gonna go see the Idols,
Ah,
so I'm very much looking forward to that, to seeing the Idols live.
cool.
But how are you doing this Sunday night, Ben?
Uh, fine. Just been chilling, watching watching One Piece.
Has it gotten good yet?
Yeah, I'm 63 episodes in. It's decent.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like at the point where people say it gets really good. And I'm liking it. But that's something else that's gonna take me a couple years. Alongside this, they do say Doctor Who is the British One Piece.
Which is bullshit. They should be saying One Piece is the Japanese Doctor Who.
Just so much. So much. Thousands.
Hours wise, which one's longer?
Hours wise?
Eh,
I don't know. Probably One Piece. 20 minutes an episode for One Piece. Over 1100 plus like a dozen movies.
yeah.
Like there's a lot of Doctor Who, but there's a fuck ton of One Piece.
Oh yeah.
But I'm taking it slow. Taking it slow. Anyway, today we will be discussing. I always forget if there's a the or not, but there isn't for this one. It's just Revenge of the Cybermen, the fifth and final serial of season 12, broadcast from April 19th to May 10th of 1975. This is the final serial, of course. I believe Terror of the Zygons was initially supposed to be the finale. So this is kind of a weird one. And yeah, it's the grand return of the Cybermen.
After almost half a decade not on screen, man.
I know. First time in color, save for tiny little baby cameos in Carnival of Monsters and The Mind of Evil.
Did you miss him, Ben?
I did, but we'll get into it. Do you have any behind the scenes information for us, Cam?
So, this was written by Jerry Davis, but it wasn't actually. It was heavily rewritten by Robert Holmes. Big Finish has put out an audio drama of the original script by Jerry Davis. I do not know what people think of that audio drama. I don't know what the consensus is on that.
Let's look at the time scale. Doo-doo-doo. Let's see. Are you familiar with the website, the time scales?
I am not familiar with that website, man.
I found it randomly one day. It has every kind of piece of Doctor Who media, and there are user submitted ratings and reviews. So you can kind of get a general consensus, I suppose.
Cool.
For what it's worth, the time scales rates it a 7.8 based on 31 ratings.
Interesting. And for comparison viewers, and I shouldn't say viewers, listeners, the Revenge of the Cybermen is sitting at a 6.3 on this website.
So could be better, maybe. First draft could have been better.
Or people could just be just want to listen to Tom and just like, oh Tom,
True.
the nostalgia factor. And then but this was heavily rewritten by Robert Holmes. Robert Holmes added that element of the Roga into the script,
Ooh.
which is that's a
Okay.
pretty big rewrite of the story without that element.
Yeah. I can I can see why people might prefer the big finish then.
And then it was directed by Michael E. Bryant, who's kind of a hit and miss director of Doctor Who. He did some episodes that we really liked, like The Green Death and The Sea Devils, but also did stories that we did not like at all, which is Colony in Space and Death of the Daleks. So a pretty inconsistent director that sometimes can be really good, but sometimes can be a little bit boring.
I see. And of course continue to be produced by Philip Hinchcliffe.
Oh yes, we got. But not even bothering to mention Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe at this time, just because they're there in the background. Interesting note also is that this was the music was done by Carrie Blyton, who we have gone on record saying is awful. He did the music for Death of the Daleks,
Uh, okay.
which just to talk about it right now, I don't think his score for this one was as bad as Death of the Daleks.
Definitely not. It's even kinda decent, but like how that score didn't fit the Daleks in a Dalek story, this score does not fit the Cybermen in a Cybermen story
Yeah.
at all. But on its own, objectively, it's alright.
But also there's a little caveat there that Hinchcliffe did not like the score, so he went to the BBC Radiophonic Workshop to give it a little bit of umph. And that was done by Peter Howell, who will go on to do the 80s Doctor Who theme, or at least the first iteration of the theme.
So it could've just sucked before it got tweaked.
Yeah.
Wow. That's that then. What did you think, Cam, of this story?
Oh, it's awful. This is not a great return of the Cybermen. It is pretty much, I don't know if it is made worse by the fact that it's directly next to. Are you okay, Ben?
Just yawning. I'm every time I record, I'm like, really it just all hits me. Like, I'm really tired now.
But I don't know if it's just made worse just because it's directly next to Genesis of the Daleks, and especially with the way we're doing it in order. You can really like you feel the drop off extremely hard. That like this has no pacing to it at all. Where Genesis is just constantly like suspenseful. This one has no sense of suspense. Ben. I'm gonna every single time you laugh. I don't know how we're gonna do. Because like I'm gonna laugh every time because it's funny.
Every time I yawn?
Yeah, because it's just like you won't stop.
Wow. I mean, I'm bored just thinking about it. Literally, I watched this 2 days ago, and I barely remember it.
But like it has no pacing to it at all. It is just a story that just goes, but there's no rhythm or momentum. It is just dull as cardboard. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's not good. Being right next to Genesis is definitely not doing it any favors. I wanted it to be, I hoped it would be like Genesis is the grand return of the Daleks back in all their glory. Revenge of the Cybermen is not that at all. It's just poorly paced, poorly executed. Talk about the Cybermen themselves in a minute, but it's just pretty underwhelming, kind of boring.
You can like it makes sense this was directed by the same guy who directed Death to the Daleks. Because this has a lot of the same problems of Death to the Daleks.
Mhm. Agreed. He doesn't seem to understand, I guess, the appeal of the Cybermen.
No. He's great in terms of like directing more people oriented stuff like the Sea Devils and Green Death. Like when it comes more of like your stereotypical drama, I would say. It's just when it gets to being science fiction y, he kind of falls apart. But then he does do Robots of Death, which is considered to be one of the best Doctor Who stories. So we'll get to that and soon.
Yeah, yeah.
But he just kind of just does not help the story at all. He doesn't give it that extra that makes the script bearable to watch. He just kind of translates the script into being the most boring thing to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Such a shame. So tell me, Cam, what's your background with the Cybermen?
I love the Cybermen. Cybermen is I don't love them as much as the Daleks. I'm more of a Dalek person, but I love the idea of the Cybermen. I just think it kind of sucks that a lot of the times Doctor Who doesn't really care to explore the idea of the Cybermen and decides just to make them generic robot bad guys, which is a case like Revenge of the Cybermen. That's what they are.
They are definitely very much generic bad guys. Like, I feel like for this story, you could like replace it with any other monster, tweak like one or two things in the script, and it would be the exact same.
Oh yeah. Like there's no elements of like the conversion. Like they never be like, okay, we gotta like upgrade this guy.
No, they don't seem robotic. They are the most just guys in silver suits.
I think a lot of that is made worse by that they have no, like, modulation on the voice.
Yeah, no, it's just like human voices. I was looking. Of course, my experience with the Cybermen is just what they were in the first and second Doctors. So, 10th planet to the invasion, hit or miss sometimes, but overall decent. I've always thought that they were the best in the 10th planet, where they're still kind of borderline human, but very inhuman about them too. These just feel like guys in silver armor.
But, like, even when it comes to, like, the 10th planet, like, those voices are so great in the 10th planet.
Yes.
Here, they're just like, there's nothing going on there, which makes me as a viewer just not care about the story because it breaks that illusion barrier.
Yeah. They're angry and emotional, and they're not robotic.
Yeah, and they're not scary.
They're not scary at all. I was laughing on the last episode. The, like, cyber leader or whatever attacks the doctor, and he's just, like, grabbing his shoulders and, like, semi-aggressively, but not really, just kinda shaking him, and the doctor's like, "Alright, alright." Like, he couldn't save the performance. It just they're really not menacing. They really just kinda suck, and it's a shame.
Wait, and also I think it's a shame as well, just because I really do like the designs of the Cybermen for Revenge of the Cybermen. I think this design is a great evolution on the Evasion design.
Yeah. Similar, but slightly tweaked. I don't really like the silver tubes
Hmm.
and also the, like, revolver on their head.
I like the revolver on the head. I think that's kind of cool.
It just looks silly. I think this is the first time they have a head-mounted weapon.
Yeah.
Every other time they've used just, like, guns or, like in the 10th planet, they have, like, little laser boxes that they hold to have the 2 hand. And I know this is something that I think they continue to do with,
No.
like, head they don't continue to do head stuff?
No, no, no. They go back to guns like the next appearance.
Okay, good.
I think it's kind of funny because they kind of look 70s. Like I think maybe it's just the tubing, but like it looks of the time in some ways.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a very dated design when there's a lot here that is in this era that's timeless.
Yeah.
Do you know who did the voices?
Yeah, it would have been the guy I think it's just whoever does it was ever in the suit.
Christopher Robbie as the cyber leader and Melville Jones as the second in command.
And this is again, like we talked about, there's nothing there.
No, no sauce. It's really a shame. I don't know what else we can talk about with the Cybermen. They just kind of miss potential.
Yeah, and they're not really like in this. They're in the story, but like they appear in the part two at like the end, and then I feel like throughout the majority of it, like they're not really like key to like the events of the story.
No.
The action is all taking place in Voga.
Yeah, so much of it is focused on Voga and the Vogans and their civil war, and the Cybermen are also there.
Yeah, you would think after all this time they would have made a story that like it's just them versus the Cybermen. Instead, it's like the kind of you can kind of tell with the rewrite. Robert Holmes is kind of a little bit more fascinated with the Vogans and Voga than he is with the Cybermen.
Yeah. Let's talk about them then. What do you think of the Vogans?
Oh, it's another thing of just they're boring. I do not care at all about them. The designs are pretty dated looking.
Yeah, just like rubber droopy
They
faces.
do not hold up. Very mask looking, and it just sucks when you look at something like Davros' last episode that's so emotive and it's just like still holds up today, and you get something like this where it's rough. There's not a lot the actors can like give to their performance with that suit, so it kind of just makes it pretty boring to watch. Just a man in the suit talk.
Yeah. When the Cybermen half of this story kind of sucks, it really sucks when the Vogan half also sucks.
Which do you know the insane thing about the Vogans not being memorable is that Michael Wisher plays one of them.
He does?
Yes, but even him, after giving a great performance last episode, this serial, he just he gives a performance so unmemorable that you don't even know it's him. Like, wow, that's the one that guy that really stands out. It's like, no, it's just everything's unmemorable about the Vogans.
How central are they to the lore if, like, they allude to this cyber war with the Vogans and the humanity,
Yeah.
and they also have, like, a Gallifreyan symbol or something?
So, all right, we can talk about. So we have two things we can talk about. What do you want to talk about first? The cyber war or the symbol?
The symbol.
Okay, the symbol. So the symbol that's the seal of Rassilon.
Mhm.
They we see it first in the Deadly Assassin.
I guess we see it first here, though.
So here's the thing. It's the same production designer of Deadly Assassin. And he just really liked that logo. So for Gallifrey and the Seal of Rassilon, he just used the same logo again.
So it's not that the Vogans have the Seal of Rassilon, it's that the Seal of Rassilon is copied from Voga.
But in a Virgin New Adventures book, they did retcon it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's just he liked the design of it, so he just reused it for the Gallifrey symbol.
I mean, who could blame him? It is a really cool design.
No, it is.
It's the most interesting thing about Voga for sure. Yeah, and then the Cyber War.
Yeah, they refer to it like later on, and a lot of the times, it's just like we get like maybe the Cybermen are in the war at the moment, or like we get moments of like they're just out of the war, or like a couple of stories where it's like the war has ended, and that's later in the classic show and also in the new series. They never talk about Voga in the Vogans.
But they have all the gold.
Yeah. But the new series kind of just forgets about that. It's something that works in the 70s for a 70s kids show, but nowadays like with the big budgets and everything, it's just like if the doctor just had like a piece of gold, it'd be like, I can stop you, Cyberman. It would be kind of dumb.
It's not their kryptonite from now forever.
Well, like, I think we do get it later on in the classic show, but it's not in the new show at all. They got rid of it. It wasn't hip.
Damn.
I like the idea of like a cyber war. Of course, the humans and the Cybermen would like go to war at some point. It kind of makes sense to have that like lore wise. And I kind of like how we like basically just don't see it on screen. It's just something that we kind of just refer to.
Wonder when it happened.
There's probably some lore bullshit that says it, but
What's the chronology of the Cybermen? Although it's like parallel evolution, right? Like Mondas is unrelated to like the Tomb of the Cybermen planet.
that's a question I'm going to leave to the scholars. I'm kind of having a blank at the moment. I don't know. Is it?
Probably. I said it once and I'll say it again. It really sucked. The Cybermen, it's all kind of been downhill since the 10th planet.
But I love Tomb. Tomb's good.
No, it's good. I think Tomb is a good story, but Cybermen, they are most interesting in the 10th planet.
Yeah, they're not really like the main thing that's cool about the Tomb of the Cybermen. A good majority of the Tomb of the Cybermen is just them just wandering around
Mhm.
before they open the Cybermen.
All right, Cam. What do we think of being back on the Ark, Nerva?
You can definitely tell it's a budget thing. Like it really doesn't make sense. They really don't even use it that much. Like
No.
reuse the sets. It's just that main one like hallway set that looks pretty good.
Yeah. And then I guess is the control room reused? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
But like you had to make like a whole bunch of Voga sets. There's like some on-set stuff in real caves.
Yes, which is shot at Wookiee Hole Caves, which I probably mispronounced somehow. I apologize. Which we're gonna have to get into the Wookiee Hole Caves at some point.
What do you mean?
So the production lore is at one point the director's wife found some arrowheads and decided to take them home, and that caused at some point the assistant manager had to be replaced due to claustrophobia. The unit Amber took seriously ill. Elizabeth Sladen almost died from a like how she got on that little boat. Do you remember the little boat, Ben?
Talking about like the mine cart thing?
Yeah, the little minecart boat.
Uh-huh.
She goes on that thing, she almost dies. Like seriously almost drowns in that water.
Jeez.
And then an electrician broke his leg. when a ladder collapsed on him. So then at that point, the director's wife had to put the arrows heads back to where she found them, and everything was good from there on. So there was some
It's
spooky
like
shit
a
happening.
straight up curse.
But yeah, the Revenge of the Cybermen almost killed Sarah Jane Ben.
That would have sucked. No Sarah Jane Adventures without her.
I think that's not the biggest problem. It's her
No
death.
Canine and Company?
Oh, poor Ian Levine never gets to write the theme song.
Alright, Cam, what else is there to talk about?
Fun fact, this was the first story to ever be released on home video.
Why?
I don't know. You would think it'd be like Genesis the Daleks or like even Awkward Space from this season, but like
Was it just, like, on top of the film reels were just at the top of the pile for some reason?
maybe, or they were just thought, oh, Tom Baker and the Cybermen, this is gonna sell units.
I don't know.
And they didn't watch it beforehand, and then they watched it and said, fuck. God damn it.
Wow.
But it released on VHS, Betamax, Laserdisc, and DVD and Blu-ray.
Wow.
So
What about the Doctor and the companions? Any thoughts there?
I think it kind of sucks that at good majority of the story, it's just the Doctor is just on the beacon. Well, it's just Sarah and Harry down at Voga. It kind of makes both sides a little bit less interesting.
Yeah, that's not really the perfect combo as we've discussed.
Yeah,
Should have been like Harry and the Doctor down there and Sarah on Nerva or something. I don't know.
it would probably be Doctor and Sarah up on the beacon. Sarah's not kidnapped, so she has to like fight. And then at the same time, we just have Harry dealing with the Vogans. It's just real like, what am I supposed to do?
Uh, I think there's one perfect line in this story. Do you know what that line is, Cameron?
Harry Sullivan, you're an imbecile.
Yeah.
And like there's that one good moment where the doctor's talking to like the cyber leader and he has like a little speech that he gives. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I don't remember.
I didn't write down the quote.
I can't help you then. Is it like when he was riling him up?
He says a good line saying that you're just a bunch of tin soldiers. You're just a bunch of tin soldiers talking about the universe in an ancient spaceship, which is a pretty good line of dialogue.
Yeah.
But like there's just there's not a lot the story does that you're kind of going, oh no, that's a good. It's in that same camp of a calling in space that just goes by without me really wanting to pay attention to it, and the scene just go by and go by and go by, and it's hard for me to take it in, Ben.
Agreed. Ready to talk about cliffhangers or any other tidbits?
Sure.
First one is the Cybermen attack Sarah.
I got Silver Worm is attacking Sarah.
It's called a Cyberman.
I
Cam.
know, but for funniness, I just called it a silver worm.
Also, somehow up and never they've been in stories before. It is only now I got it that it's a Cyberman rat.
Yeah,
Cybermat.
yeah.
I always thought they were just like some weird little creature.
No, because like it's like they would have to like it's the same version of like the size of the Cybermen. Like they're taking the brain from something.
Why did they roboticize rats though?
That's a smart little fuckers, dude. Give it some cybernetic shit that you can give it commands. Like those motherfuckers will rule the world, dude.
Wow. Okay.
It is kind of funny that we see them in like Tomb, and they're like pretty much like they're rat sized, but here like they're like they're like it's like a
It's like a
dog
small dog,
size.
yeah.
Like it's insane. Like that's no rat. No rats fitting in that thing unless you got like two or three rats in that. Like
Wow. The second one is the Cybermen board Nerva and the doctor is shot.
oh no, the dog has been shot and is dead.
Damn. Third, there's a cave in. The doctor is knocked unconscious, and the imbecile Harry tries to remove the bomb attached to the doctor, which will make it explode.
I just have Harry's an idiot. I also thought about that one. It's like, imagine somebody coming in like the last 5 minutes and seeing that cliffhanger. They'd be so fucking confused. They'd be like, all right, what's the cliffhanger? And then someone had to explain to them, well, there's a bomb. And if he touches that and tries to do it, like it's going to blow up. And it's just like, it's so much complicated for a cliffhanger that should be pretty much like something more immediate that somebody that just came in would be like, Oh, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah. Alright, Cam, how would we rate this story?
Ooh, I don't want to give it too low.
Is it worse than the Sontaran experiment?
Oh, what's worse than the Sontaran experiment? Sontaran experiment has some good stuff in it. Revenge of the Cybermen has not a lot of good stuff in it.
No.
So now it's just like, okay, it's gonna be in the 6 range for me.
Yeah, I think it's a 6 something.
6.6.
I'm gonna do a 6.3. Just really disappointed.
Oh, yeah. This was one I always wanted to watch as a kid. This is the only episode of season 12 I never watched as a kid. Just because it's like, oh, it's as a kid, you're going, oh, I want to watch the Cyberman story. After all the years, I finally watched it for this episode, and yeah, I don't think I wasn't missing much.
No. So, the polls in the public consciousness
Well, not public consciousness. This is among Doctor Who fans.
and the hardcore Doctor Who fans who not only purchase Doctor Who magazines, but fill out a survey and submit it.
Which you also have to add in, like, imagine like the hardcore motherfuckers that was reading the Doctor Who magazine in 1998 compared to the one that was reading in 2009, 2014, and now.
Oh, yeah, when, like, it's not even on television. It hasn't been on television for, like, 10 years.
Yeah, they're still picking up, and they're at this point. I don't know if like that 1998 poll was done via like the mail or if that was done via the computer.
It would've been male, I would have to believe. It's gone up just a little bit since
How?
it was originally polled. In '98, it was 33rd place. In '09 and 2014, it was 30th, and most recently, it was polled in 2023 as the 31st best story. So, definitely in that, like, pretty solidly in the lower kinda quarter of stories.
Which makes sense. Like, personally, I'm seeing the Leisure Hive below it, and I think that's kind of insane. I actually kind of like the Leisure Hive. I'm shocked that is that low, but we're not talking about Leisure Hive today. We're talking about Revenge of the Cybermen, but like, it makes sense that it's in the bottom, like, fourth of Tom Baker's run. It's not great.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why it's gone up. Maybe it's just because people are idiots. I don't know.
If I had to guess, maybe because it's a Cybersman story, it's just been experienced more. Like, I feel like there probably isn't as many rewatches of, like, random one.
Well, like somebody would watch Revenge of the Cybermen over the Leisure Hive
Yeah, maybe.
or Nightmare of Eden.
Or The Creature from the Pit.
Yeah.
Something random, just because it's a Cyberman story,
Yeah.
even if it isn't a good Cyberman story.
Yeah.
So maybe it was more present in the public consciousness, even if it's not present as a good story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my theory.
And then you get that surge of new Who fans watching it because it's a Sidemen story, and they say, "Oh, it's a 7." Well, maybe some people back in the day would say, "Oh, no, this is like a 4 or 5. Rise of the Sidemen sucks."
Yeah. So season 12, Cam. It's a bit of a mixed season, maybe? I don't know. Because, like, we have essentially the perfect 10 of Genesis. We have a 9 of Ark in Space, an 8 of Robot, a 7 of Sontaran Experiment, and a 6 of Revenge of the Cybermen. So we got like one of everything, essentially.
I don't know. I like season 12. I think season 12, of course, you have the highlight of Genesis and Ock in Space. But like I'll take an episode like the Santana experiment over like a lot of other episodes just because it's a two-potter. A two-potter sevens is kind of as a two-potter 7.2 in my book is a little bit even higher than like a six-potter that's like a 7.3 or 7.4 just because it's like at least they didn't waste my time. But, like, I think overall, it's a pretty a successful first season for Tom Baker, and Tom Baker is the highlight.
Oh, absolutely. I shouldn't say mixed, I should say not consistent.
Yes.
It's not the score has varied a lot. But overall, I would agree. It is good. I've enjoyed my time with this. Kind of a weak note to go out on. Even if like Revenge of the Cybermen and Genesis swap places, maybe that would have been better.
Yeah,
Have Genesis be the final story. Of course, Terror of the Zygons, I believe, was supposed to be originally.
yeah, but I think they probably just ran out of money by this point, so they kinda just needed to end it.
Yeah, but does that mean do you know if Terror of the Zygons was supposed to be part of season 12, would that have been commissioned by Barry Letts? Or is this the last one of his influence?
I forget, we're gonna have to wait till next week so I can do the research. It could be, because it is a unit story, so I could imagine a world that it is, but then, like, It is so much the terror of the Zygons. You really feel that Holmes' influence a lot.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about it next week. I'll have more information next week about that and that answer.
Alrighty then. And anything else about season 12?
And I don't have anything right now. I think this is a strong season, and it just because of it has Genesis in Occult Space really makes it a strong season in my book.
Oh, definitely. And Robot is good. So next is season 13.
Considered by many to be the best season of classic Doctor Who.
Really?
Yes.
I guess that makes sense. As a fan, I'm looking at the list of everything in season 13. These are all things I've heard about. Of course, Period of Mars is very relevant to what's going on in New Who right now. Brand of Morbius is important to the lore. Lots of good episodes that I've heard about. I haven't heard a lot of stuff about the power of crawl.
It's Kroll, and also interesting fact that's written by Robert Holmes and supposed to be one of the worst stories of all Doctor Who. So look forward to Power of Kroll.
Oh, I'll be counting the days. Yeah, we're in like the legendary era for sure. Have you seen all of season 13 before?
I've seen everything except for Planet Evil, and I haven't seen Seeds of Doom. Seeds of Doom has probably been one of the most glaring of the Hitchcliff era that I have not seen yet. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And also, Android Invasion is a story I've seen the first half of it like 3 or 4 times, but like it never could make it past like spot 3 and 4. So that's gonna be a fun episode. I'm curious to see how I like the whole thing.
Well, I guess we will see.
And of course, the big thing about next season is that except for one episode, it is mostly just a Tom and Sarah season. So
Yeah.
look forward to that.
And it's gonna kind of set the template for what a season of Doctor Who looks like. 6 episodes, one of them is a six-parter for the next while. So be sure to tune in next week when we talk about Terror of the Zygons. Give us a like, comment, and a subscribe, follow, repost, retweet, share with all your friends, all the wonderful things that you can do to support us. We really appreciate it. And we will look forward to you tuning in next week. Have a wonderful day.
Peace out, everyone.